A very happy morning, students. So today there is a day of new question, and this question is again related with the chapter Sources of Business Finance. Obviously, there are so many sources, and every source is having some merits as well as some demerits. And when we have to choose a particular source of finance, we have to see both the aspect. That means we have to see what are the advantages of that particular source, what are the merits of that source, as well as we have to see what are the demerits of that particular source of finance. Now, among all these sources, one of the most popular source of finance for a company especially is equity shares. Now, why this equity share is known as the riskier one? As you can see, today's question is that only. Why is equity share capital called risky capital? Why are we calling this equity capital as a risky capital? And if it is risky capital, why the people are investing money? Why are they purchasing equity shares? What is the reason behind that? So all these things we are going to discuss in today's video. First of all, when we are going to talk about capital, already we know that there are two types of capital. Owned capital, which is the own capital of the company, and second one is borrowed capital. That means the capital which has been borrowed from outside. That means which has been borrowed from the public, from the bank. Like we can take loan from the general public in form of debentures. We can take loan from the bank. We can say the public to deposit their money in our company, so that is what we are calling public deposit. So there are different sources of borrowed capital. And owned capital, when we are talking about, it is basically the equity shares as well as the retained earning, the profit which we have earned. The part of the profit we always keep it as a reserve. This is a kind of saving. So that reserve which has been created through the profit, through the share of profit, is termed as retained earning. But now today's question is why the equity capital is termed as the risky capital. The reason is that the equity capital, actually the equity shareholders, are the prime risk bearer. They are investing their money in the shares, and means to say they are ready to take the risk. What type of risk? It means that if the company is facing loss, the equity shareholder will not get any dividend. Dividend is actually a share of profit, but when the company is not earning profit, how can it pay the dividend? So in case of loss, they are not getting anything. First problem. Second problem, if the company earns profit, then also depends on the decision of the management. If the management find out there is the profit is not sufficient which can be distributed among the shareholders, they can think of just not to pay the dividend. So this is also one of the situation which equity shareholder has to face, that in case of insufficient amount of the profit, they are not at all going to get anything. This is one of the problem. Again, one more problem is that when the company is going to wind up, when the company is going to close down, then only the equity shareholders will get their money back. That means this is the permanent source of finance. We have already discussed about this one. Equity share capital is known as the permanent source of finance. The company will pay back the money only when it will going to wind up. Now, when we are talking about this one, when the company will wind up, what the company will do, first of all, it will make the payment of all the creditors and all. It will make the payment of short term and long term creditors. The loan which has been taken, it has to be settled down. Later on, if anything is left, first of all the money will be paid to the preference shareholders. As we know, they are the one who enjoy the preferential position over equity shareholders. That means first of all whatever their dues has to be settled down, and lastly, at last, if anything remains, it will be given to the equity shareholders. So this is the whole situation. It is riskier. Really, risk equity share capital is the riskier one. When we are talking about sharing of profit, when we are saying about the return of capital, every place they are facing the risk. And you know why? Because equity shareholders are the owners. They are willingly invested, they have willingly invested their money in the equity shares. The reason is there also, why have they invested? For example, if the company is earning good amount of profit, they will enjoy really a good dividend. This is one of the benefit there. If the company will earn huge profit, equity shareholders will enjoy good amount of dividend. Similarly, in case of wind up also, if the company is left with good amount of fund, then the equity shareholder will get a good return from there also. So willingly they invest. Actually, they are the one who are taking risk. So that is why this is known as the risky capital. Okay, so what are the risks which is related with the equity share capital we have discussed in this video. Hope so the topic is clear. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.